As beginning actors, we so desperately want to perform and to do something and to show something. But less is more. Let's talk about what that means and how to get there. Coming up next on The Starting Actor. Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Starting Actor. I am Vinnie Horst, and if you're new here, welcome. This channel is about learning the ins and outs, the do's and don'ts, the tips and tricks of the practical things that you don't learn in acting class, but that you need to know to work in the industry. So, if that sounds like something of interest to you, then consider subscribing. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about less is more. And there's a phrase that always sticks in my brain when I think about that concept, and that phrase is this one. It takes a lot of confidence to do less and to have faith that it's the right thing to do. Now, it sounds grandiose, and it sounds maybe that might be something from a famous acting coach. It is from a coach, but it's actually from an NHL, a professional hockey coach, the coach of my home team, the Winnipeg Jets, and that coach's name is Paul Maurice. Why do I bring that up? It's because less is more is something that applies to all walks of life. In hockey, it means that you need to make crisp plays. You need to do as many things as you need to make the play, but no more. Because if you do any more than that, you risk making a mistake and giving up a goal. If you are a person in a courtroom who is answering a lawyer's questions, well, you'd better answer the questions that they ask and no more. Don't offer any opinions. Don't answer any questions that they didn't ask, because you can get yourself into trouble. Less is more. And the same thing applies to acting. In my experience, when it comes to acting, less is more is about fighting the natural instinct to do too much, to portray a character rather than to just be a character. That might mean something like using too much in your voice, moving around too much, using your hands too much, just generally doing too many things. And the instinct is a natural one, at least I think it is. And it has to do with wanting to perform, wanting to show somebody that you know what you're doing and to entertain them. Now, I want you to do an exercise. The next time that you're watching a television show or a movie, particularly a dramatic one, I want you to watch the actors. What are they doing? In a dramatic show, you'll often find that actors don't move too much. They're serious, they're intense, they're clear in their diction. And that's all that they need to do. That's still entertaining. If that wasn't entertaining, then they wouldn't be on national television, or they wouldn't have created a movie. These guys know what they're doing, and it looks great. Arriving at a moment in your training when you accept and understand and believe that less is in fact more takes time. And I do remember my own experience. It actually wasn't that long ago. I was taking a course, a class, an acting class with a new teacher, approximately 8 weeks long. And the first 3 weeks or so, the teacher, multiple times per class, would say, "Vinnie, do less, less, less." And she would repeat. And frankly, at the beginning of that course, I really struggled with it. I didn't understand how to do it. I was working in a very dramatic scene, lots of emotion, and my instinct was to play that emotion. It took me a while to figure out that that didn't need to be done, and to understand, appreciate, and accept that what my teacher was telling me was in fact true and that I could do it. So the question, of course, is how do you get to that point? When it comes to acting teachers' advice, many of them will tell you don't record yourself, don't watch yourself in the mirror. I'm not entirely sure why that advice is common, at least it's been common for me, but I find that is the opposite of helpful for me. I would set up my rehearsal, and I would record myself, or I would look at myself in the mirror. And I would try to be as extremely honest with myself as I could. If I was doing too much, I would just stop. I would stop, refocus, start over, and do it again. And be honest with myself and call bullshit. If you guys haven't seen my episode on the bullshit detector, you got to check it out. It's up here. It's pretty good. But that's what this was all about. It was about holding myself accountable. In prior episodes, you may have heard me talk about the actor's CPU, and that is the brain that you have in your head. Just like a computer, if you have too many programs running, your computer starts to slow down or something bad happens. When I began to get control of who I was as an actor and to calm down and slow down and do less, what I found was that there were extra CPU cycles available to me. My brain wasn't racing and doing all the things that it was doing, and I could spend some time and spend some of those CPU cycles on other things. And one of those other things had to do with introducing extra things to my performance. Sometimes, as an actor, we want to add just a little bit of something, whether it be an accent or maybe a mannerism, something that defines the character in some interesting way that the audience might notice. Well, I found that once I got better control of me as the actor, that I could then start doing some of those things. Accents in particular, I found, became easier. I didn't have to think about them so much, and they just became natural and more part of my character, where in the past it would be very stilted and it just didn't feel right, didn't look right, and it didn't play well. So, an interesting side effect. All right, well, that is the end of this episode on Less is More. I hope you enjoyed what you saw here today, and if you did, consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.